Hey guys, welcome back to Groom Productions, and today I want to talk about something that has been on my mind recently. Now, it's not regarding any sneak peeks or anything like that, but it is regarding how the store environment will be for this year, for Spirit Halloween 2022, and that is that I think Spirit Halloween is going a lot more darker this year. And what I mean by that is not necessarily darker as in I guess the characters, but as more as like what the characters have and what they do. As we know, back then they used to be a lot more scarier and more gory and just in my opinion a lot more realistic and more just violent and something that would actually scare somebody in a haunted house, which that's what you want out of a Halloween prop, especially us that go to Spirit. We mostly buy it for our haunts and displays of which we want to be scary. Recently, though, as most of us know, they haven't been selling the most scariest props out there. Sure, we get awesome and fantastic animatronic characters, and such as like werewolves and clowns, a lot of clowns, and some scarecrows, along with other things. But we really haven't been getting like scary versions of them, unlike back then where we used to get like actually like scary werewolves and some scary clowns and a lot of scary little kids, like little dolls and kids. That was probably one of the most scariest things back then for most kids. I know that's probably what I was most afraid of back then. But I kind of wish that they would go back to that. I know we all kind of wish that they would go back to that, even though a friendly store environment is good for marketing and that's what you want. I feel like they should have a separate market for like the fans who kind of grew up with it and want back the scary stuff for our own personal sake instead of just walking around the store. And I've said this countless times that Spirit Halloween does listen to the fans. They do listen to us on what we want in our intel on the store experience, but they also do look at the other people that come into the store, who just want to look around at a Halloween store for a costume and not necessarily for their personal haunt or displays, because all of us are really into Halloween. We all do our personal displays, our own haunts, that's what we do. The majority of the people that go into Spirit Halloween, besides us of course, they just go in to look around and buy some costumes, and a lot of those people do have little kids, and Spirit Halloween wants to make the store more friendly of an environment, a place where they actually want to go instead of somewhere where they don't want to go and just go to like Target to buy a costume or something like that. I'm putting up a photo of 2020 here specifically because I feel like this year did it the most, to where it was like the most kid friendly and just goofy and all that stuff. And I actually had one commenter say something in one of my previous videos about the way stores used to set up the front and the back theme. They said that they think Spirit Halloween might actually put the back theme like a little bit more hidden in 2022 this year, because in the past they've kind of have been putting like the back themes more in like the middle of the store, to where it's kind of wide out in the open, kind of like the front theme. And they made a really good point where the back theme is the one that always had the more like twisted and scarier animatronics, the ones that people really wouldn't want to see that have little kids. So that way, if you really want to find the scary animatronics, it's in the back of the store that's more hidden, so that way it's not really interrupting the environment. And I kind of remember that is how they used to be, because whenever I was a little kid and I used to kind of be scared to go into Spirit Halloween too, one of the employees told me that they had all the scary stuff in the back of the store, so if I didn't want to be scared, just don't go back there. And I followed that advice, of course. But now, of course, I am really into this, so I kind of want to see the scary stuff again, along with all of us. And I feel like they should go back to that strategy, putting the back theme in the very like back hidden corner of a store, so that way you can't really see the scary props. I feel like that would, it would kind of favor both audience or targets, I guess, of the family, and the real like haunters. So I feel like that should be the strategy, and hopefully, and what I'm seeing so far and what a lot of people are saying, it does kind of look like they might be going back to their old ways, basically. In this little teaser that we got halfway to Halloween, of course, I saw this knife with a bloody knife, and because of like the height of the knife, we're all assuming it's a child prop, and because of the audio. Now, we haven't really seen a child prop in a long time with any kind of like bloody weapon. I think the last child prop we've seen with a weapon was Ellie Hatchet, and her hatchet was clean and shiny. There was nothing on it whatsoever. But this prop does have some blood on it, and it looks pretty realistic from this video, at least. So I'm hoping that like we are getting a lot more detailed and scarier props this year that aren't just like goofy, because for some reason I feel like the more goofy props are, the more cheap and just fake they look. If they look scary, then I feel like they look more realistic and more detailed and more good quality. And that's what we want. If we're going to spend a lot of money on these, I think we should get, props that are going to do the job. They are going to scare people in the haunted house. I said this on one of my videos like a few months back, that in 2021 I would go there, or to the store, many times, and each time I would go there would always be some like little kid, probably at the age of like 5, laughing at the animatronics because they think it's funny instead of scary. Now that's not really what we want. We want scary props, and because I said Spirit Halloween listens to our fans, which they do, I think they will bring back a lot of scary props this year, and including, the fan favorite Barnyard Butcher, who is a very, very gory and creepy prop who I think a lot of kids would be afraid to see. I never got to see him, but I'm sure I would have been, terrified of him whenever I was little. And, that's kind of a good thing. Like, I'm not saying, like, these props should, like, straight up traumatize little kids, because, that's not what they really want. That's not what we want as haunters. We just want to give them a little scare, not, completely traumatize them. But they need to give some kind of effect rather than just like, oh, that's a cool prop. They need to, scare you. I feel like the last like prop that genuinely scared most people that walked into the store was probably Demonic Dahlia and Jack Straw, but that's just because they had a really cool jump scare animation. Jack Straw wasn't necessarily the scariest. Dahlia had a pretty creepy looking face, but it wasn't necessarily like terrifyingly scary. Just the jump scare probably did startle a lot of people. I just feel like a lot of these props are missing like this realistic scary element. I actually just unboxed Dr. Illume, and I absolutely love the face on him. He has this very like terrified face, and it just looks really realistic and very like creepy, like he's going through some kind of like pain or something. And I hope that that's what we get in stores, is just more of like this human like scariness to it. And I know that might sound a little bit confusing and maybe a little bit messed up, but like I'm just looking back to like back then Spirit, around like 2012-ish, where the props then were like just very like gruesome, and just they involved a lot of humans. And that's something that I don't see, like I haven't seen recently, is that none of the props really involve like humans itself. We've gotten a lot of like, scary monsters and werewolves and clowns, but the clowns themselves aren't necessarily like, I guess, human. They're more like monster clowns. And we got a lot of like dolls and stuff like that. And if we do get a human, it's usually like this little girl that's trying to scare you. And back then though, we got like humans literally being like eaten by like werewolves and zombies, which was this very, like a messed up concept. One of my like, in my opinion, one of like the creepiest props is Eaten Alive, with that zombie guy getting eaten by a rat like on the inside. Like that is really, really scary. It's a really cool concept. It's really scary. I feel like it would freak some kid out if they ever see it like in like a haunted house or something. And the reason why I had hope for 2022 being a scary year is because of the potential school theme that we would have saw. Because it's a school, there is a lot of, like people usually around a school. But unfortunately, due to the events that happened, of course, we probably won't see a school this year. But I think the next best thing that we could see is a science lab. And there's still a good chance with a science lab, because in a science lab, many, many things can go wrong. That little rumor that was going around called like that lab accident or something like that was a really, really cool sounding, like almost like apocalyptic idea of like zombies and just kind of like really scary stuff. I mean, like who knows what could happen inside of a lab accident. Anything can go on in a lab. But we still don't know if they're going to go with the school idea or a lab idea. I think either way, they can do some really, really scary things. And I feel like they should, kind of go back to that one trend where they, in the front theme, it's more of like the more, not family friendly, but just, I guess, the not as scary props. And then the back theme do the scary props, because, that will be less hidden. Kids won't really see that. Most kids just want to go into Spirit Halloween to pick up a costume or look at masks or something like that. Which is why I feel like hiding the back theme with all the scary animatronics, is still a good marketing thing, because those kids and their families, they would probably never buy those animatronics to begin with. But us haunters who really want those animatronics, we would already know like where to look, kind of thing. So I don't think it would really hurt them that much if they were to hide the back theme. Plus, if somebody were to like ask like an employee or something like, where can we find these animatronics, like they can just tell them, kind of thing. So it wouldn't hurt them to do that. So I don't really understand why they wouldn't do that. But yeah, if they do like a school or a science lab, there's just so many possibilities of what they can do. Like they can really it's a make or break kind of situation, because on one hand these props can be like really really scary and like just very like messed up kind of, and I guess some can almost traumatize kids really, but then on the other hand they can also be very goofy and, you know, just lighthearted and stuff. With the science lab especially, you could do a lot of like lighthearted things like Frankenstein. Like, you know, even though Frankenstein I guess can be scary for some people, he's mostly just a famous like horror monster, which is not really that scary. I feel like we can have so much more though, and I'm hoping that they, you know, see the potential in some of these themes and just ideas and what the fans really want. And I hope that they really do have, you know, scary props this year. Now, as far as the movie goes, I can already tell the movie's not going to be scary. It's going to be on like the same level as probably like Goosebumps, the new Ghostbusters movie. So it's not going to be too scary, but that makes sense because, you know, a lot of families with kids are going to go see that movie. And you don't want to traumatize the kids, obviously. That's honestly like with most haunters. No, I mean, unlike like, you know, the more, I guess, mature haunted houses, such as like Halloween Horror Nights, which I guess can honestly traumatize a kid. But if it's going to be like a major motion picture that's definitely not going to be like a full-on like horror movie from like Blumhouse or something, then yeah, you definitely don't want to put in too much scary stuff, especially if this is based off like a real-life store. If they put in too many scary things in the movie, it can kind of hurt the store. This movie can honestly kind of hurt the company as a whole if it, you know, promotes something that, you know, families typically don't like. Then I mean, it could in some ways hurt the way like the store works, and I don't know, it could affect a lot pretty much. With that being said, though, it could affect it the other way around, too. Because there's a movie about the store coming out this year, it could make more people want to actually go into the store and buy more products and stuff like that. And if they really have, like, amazing animatronics this year, then, you know, Spirit Halloween's definitely going to, like, get a lot more popular. I think they have a plan going on here. They're going to release this movie, and then hopefully they're going to have some, like, stellar animatronics this year, both for scary, you know, people who want scary things and people who want more, like, lighthearted things. I think there's going to be a good mix this year. It's not going to be too scary. It's not going to be too friendly, though, either. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I know I kind of ranted on a lot about, you know, this whole topic, but tell me in the comments below if you think that this year is going to be scary, goofy, or somewhere in the middle. I'm going to say somewhere in the middle. I think they are going to try to be a little bit more scary, but the good balance to not traumatize anyone. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.